you just never know.
No, actually, we have a gentleman on online too who maybe could help you. He's a bit of a Vince Friese expert. Jason Thomas, what's up, JT?
This is like a Renaissance era for me.
Do you have any advice for Joey when dealing with
the names change, but the situation stays the same.
That's right.
This is a man, Joey, who had a WWF pit fight with wrenches and God knows what else at Butler Brothers back in the day with Vince and his dad and everybody. So this man knows.
Wait, so
Yep.
was Vince's brother there by chance?
His brother was not there. No,
Okay, well that
not
makes it a little bit
that
better.
particular time.
Okay, because that makes it a little bit better. Like I said, I grew up. I spent a lot of years around both of them, and it's I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Well,
No, it's unfortunate, man. Like the story with him, in my opinion, should be about how much better of a rider he's become. It should be celebrating
100%.
how good he's gotten. Because I used to race against him. I just watch him. I'm like, man, he's really good now. But it's not. It's about all the antics and how much everybody, just doesn't want to race against him because of the things he does. That's the story, and it really shouldn't be.
Yeah, and dude, like when I sit back and think, and even talk to, I have friends obviously that were there, similar-ish time. Barsha was there, I think, right before me, but I talked to a lot of people that were around for Vince, in his B years, and was at MCF in 2007, 8. Like, if there's one person that I would have bet a lot of money on that never would have made it this far, it's Vince Friese, 100%.
mm-hmm.
And he's done dude, like, that's the thing. He's just good enough that he can be the biggest pain in the ass. And, and I would agree, though, 100%. Like, the storyline should be how much further he's made it than probably anybody ever would have expected. But it's just the lack of judgment on his execution is what overshadows it.
And I always think about, like, there's just, everybody at that level, right? Everyone, there's a way to race and not, and everybody has a certain level of respect, and it's about safety, and it's also about respecting each other, and everybody's there to try to further the career and provide for their families. And, like, then you have someone else who there's just no respect given. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, whatever you think about the way that things should be done, they just don't. Like, they don't see it the same way. I've wrote about this. I've talked about this. Like, I've had rational conversations with him, and it was like I was looking right through him. Like, he didn't get it. He didn't care. He didn't understand what I was saying. Like, there was no like understanding of what the words that were coming out of my mouth. I was like, do you even realize, like, I wanted to wave in front of him, like, do you understand I'm talking to you? And he just does not. He doesn't get it, and it. It's really frustrating. I get frustrated now, and I don't even have to deal with it anymore.
Let me ask you guys this. So, Joey, you were there. Obviously, we know his track record and everything. Besides cutting the track and what he did with you, was there anything that gnarly that he did in Abu Dhabi?
Cross jumping, dude. Holy smokes. I thought I watched Kenny's life end in front of my eyes.
Okay.
And it's hard to say. Like, I never saw any of the broadcasts. I don't even know if they had a broadcast.
They did, yeah. They missed the takeout on you they kind of barely caught the takeout of you, yeah.
So they didn't. Again, I didn't watch it, so I don't know. But it was the first moto towards the end of it, coming back in from the stadium. Kenny had set up the old switchback coming into it. He was outside in, inside to out, and had decent drive coming in the stadium. And when we went to jump that first three, dude, he jumped, I bet you 8 feet at least, from the middle of the track all the way to the left. Jeez. And in the air, I watched him come over on Kenny, and Kenny's whole body language leaning into him because he was trying not to land on him. And if he would have caught him in the air, he would have gone, head first into the takeoff of the next one, and it would have been really bad. And that was, for me, like, I was like, dude, okay. Like, listen, I get it. You're trying to be defensive, right? Like, and I support that. You're doing the best you can, and that's where, for me, dude, nothing he did to me pass-wise, like, I was good with all of it. Like, it's just hard racing. And the only part that I was bummed out about, and that was what I was so fired up at the end of the night, was like, he wouldn't even look at me. And I'm like, dude, all I'm trying to do is have a conversation with you. Like, just talk to me.
No, he doesn't. It doesn't register. It doesn't. I've done it at the races. I've done it at dinner. I've done it at a bar in Germany. I've done it it just doesn't. And that's like Steve and I have battled. Like Steve and I used to go at it because Steve was like wanting to defend it, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm done. I'm done defending. I'm done defending it. It's not defensible anymore.
He just looks like Homer blinking, like in Simpsons where Homer.
But he doesn't like the thing about it is, like, I don't think he's inherently a bad person. Like what he thinks is acceptable versus what most people think is acceptable are two totally different things. So he's looking at you like you're a crazy person. Like he doesn't get it.
It's a different language.
Yeah, well, and honestly, I don't even think that it's a it's a what he thinks is acceptable. I think it's just a lack of judgment in the moment. Like I just think that he doesn't necessarily weigh out the risk versus reward, or hey, if I do this, am I putting people in harm's way intentionally? And like that's where I just think I don't necessarily think that it's like him being spiteful or him just getting, oh, this is fine. I just think he doesn't think it through. And again, I've never really had that. I haven't had very many run-ins with him ever. I mean, as an amateur, like at the track, I'd run into him and we'd have arguments. But the biggest thing why I couldn't even get his attention there is because Tony wouldn't let me talk to him. But mainly because Dean was yelling at him and they were actually going at it. But like I was trying to just be like, hey, dude, like honestly, look at me in the eyes and tell me that you felt like what you did was right, and he wouldn't listen, and Tony just would not let him talk to me. And I'm just like,
he doesn't though. That's the thing. Like he doesn't think that there's anything out of line. I talked to him. I talked to his parents. I talked to everybody involved. Like if he wants to appoint a mediator, I would talk to them too. There's just no acceptance that it's out of line, and that's on him. Like I don't. He doesn't have to apologize to me. He doesn't have to apologize to anybody. That's for him as a man to decide what's right and wrong. I just don't personally think it's the right way to go about racing. Like the sad thing is he is too good to be racing like that. He doesn't need to be racing like that. Like he is an incredibly talented racer. Like he's battling for championships in this series, and he's a legitimate top 10 450 guy and a top 5 250 West guy and all these things. And none of that is ever going to register because of this other crap.
Joey, a caller called in, James. He said if Friese had 2 tickets to ICP at the Sphere, would you go with him? Would you go with Vince to ICP at the Sphere?
Listen, this is how I look at things, and I was taught this by a guy who's about my height, redheaded. Friese for me. So listen, if someone wants to buy me tickets, listen, I'm there, no doubt.
All right, tweet that out, Talon, that he would go.
I think he might be ICP.
Right. Well, he was actually talking to one of the clowns.
5 points, Joe Dog. 5 points. 1 round to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be brutally honest here. Like that was about as worst case for Kenny. Is pretty much what happened. It's in back row, and I mean,
you sound like Brayton last year. Brayton had the points lead, and he could win the thing, and Brayton goes on my show and goes, "We all know Kenny's the best guy. Like whatever." Now you